All right, it's time that we rip that bandage off and see how bad the wound really is, plus 2 things that you as a real estate agent need to be doing right now. There's light at the end of the tunnel now that they're beginning to open things up, which means that now is the time when we're gonna see how bad things have really gotten. We're gonna see which stores open up and which stores stay closed forever. The government's expecting one of those V-shaped recoveries where it kind of goes back up just as quickly as it went down. But honestly, they've never seen this before. We've never seen this before. So we don't really know what's gonna happen. What we do know is that right now there's roughly 21 million Americans that are currently unemployed, and 7.5% of all mortgages are currently in forbearance. But just today, we already got our first little glimmer of hope. The mortgage applications increased for people that were buying a home. So last week compared to the week before, more people came out and applied for mortgages that were wanting to buy a home instead of just wanting to refinance. So this is good news because that number had been sliding and sliding and sliding. It's still way down when you compare last week to the same time last year, but the fact that it has not only stopped dropping, but has already turned and started to move up means that there was some pent-up buyer demand in there that is already starting to get back into the market to buy a home. So while we may not know exactly what's going to happen with the economy, I can tell you for certain that mortgages, that's a gaping wound. Mortgages have changed drastically over the last 60 days. It is much harder here in May to get a loan than it was back in March to get a loan. And for you, that means that your clients are either gonna not qualify now, maybe their credit score is too low, maybe they lost their job. There's a bunch of different factors that may make it so that they just flat out can't buy a home right now. And for the ones that can buy a home, there's a high likelihood that they're gonna have to jump through a couple of extra hoops. Maybe they end up qualifying for less of a home. There's definitely gonna be some impact to most buyers in this market. Which brings me to the 2 things that you need to be doing right now as a real estate agent. First, you need to be making sure that you're working with somebody that's been through this before, that understands how much effort needs to be put into it, that honestly is going to be very frank with you and your clients about their probability of getting a mortgage. That way you don't waste a bunch of time of your own, waste a bunch of time of theirs, waste a bunch of time of the sellers if there's just no chance that they're actually going to be able to close on a mortgage. Second piece is if they've been out there pre-qualified for more than, I don't know, a week or 2, now's a good time to call their lender. Call me. Let's look at the scenario again. Make sure that they haven't been impacted by the way the guidelines are changed. Make sure that their personal financials have not been impacted to the point where they shouldn't be looking for a home. It's just time to keep everything nice and fresh. That way you don't end up writing an offer based on a pre-qual that was issued in, I don't know, March or April that flat out is useless right now. Just this week, we saw more companies pull out of doing home equity lines. We saw the cost of cash out refinances skyrocket. We even saw investors that had been holding back and adding extra overlays begin to add extra overlays. So mortgages are definitely more complicated now than they were before. And it's very likely that they're gonna get even more complicated before they get back to getting any easier. So keep those 2 things in mind. Call me over here at Intent Mortgage. Let's make sure that we don't let this stop us from moving forward with our businesses. Talk to you soon.